Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo, and we're back here inside of Killer Instinct. That boneman is finally here. Spinal has at last been released. We can now hop into a Killer Instinct, download the patch, gain access to Spinal, all of his accessories, and also his new level, the Abandoned Shipwreck. On top of that, they've also released the classic skins for Glacius as well as for Saberwolf. So we got a ton of content in this patch, as well as some actual updates to get rid of things like rage quitting. Essentially, Double Helix came up with a jail system, similar to what Grand Theft Auto 5 did, as well as Max Payne 3. So basically, if you get a disconnect and you have a certain percentage, that's a higher than 15% disconnect rate, you get a certain number of those, you'll be put in jail for 5 matches, and if you keep doing that, you can be put into jail for up to 5 days. What does that mean? That means that you are in jail with other players, so all the rage quitters get to play together. Yay! They'll never finish a match. That puts a really big smile on my face. So what I want to do in this video, let's talk a little bit more about Spinal as an overview of what I played of him. Show you guys some early gameplay of me getting my arse completely handed to me by some other early on Spinals as well, because he is an extremely technical character. I really did not want to do any live commentaries. They would have been boring, and it would have just been me going, what just happened? And all of this other stuff, because Spinal has so much tech going on. There's just so much potential to be like the most technical character in Killer Instinct right now, and that excites me, and that's why I'm going to main him, even if it means deranking myself to Oblivion, because in the last couple days using Saberwolf, I deranked from 8 to 4, and now I'm ranked 2 after I've recorded this, so yeah, whatever, you know what, it'll be easy to sweep up some of the dudes on the low level who are trying to play Spinal, because I'm going to spend a bunch of time practicing with Spinal. Something that not a lot of people do in this game. They seem to not like to practice, which is why I run into really bad Jagos all the time at low level. But hey, free wins for me. Anyways, let's talk a little bit more about Spinal as a fighter. The first thing I want to talk about, though, was everything that has been included with Spinal. Now, if you guys haven't seen the trailer for Spinal, which also has a short little teaser for Falgor at the end, I'll have that linked in the description below. Even if you don't play Killer Instinct, you're one of the people who just watches it on my channel because you really enjoy it, go watch this trailer. This is probably the best composed, the best crafted, the best edited trailer I've ever seen for a game. It makes you want to play Killer Instinct more than anything in the world. The music is absolutely stunning for Spinal. You can hear it a little bit on this level. Very heavy orchestra music, and the sounds for Spinal, everything from his jaw clenching at the end of a match to his laugh, to the sound of that that ridiculous sort of like friggin' kraken on the front of his shield. Very H.P. Lovecraft inspired, and I absolutely love it for that. But enough of talking about how damn good the game looks and how damn good Spinal looks. Let's talk a little bit about how he functions. So what you'll be seeing in some of this gameplay here is the skulls are probably the most noticeable thing for someone who doesn't play Killer Instinct that often. Is what the hell are those skulls? Well, essentially those are modifiers which we can use as projectiles. We can use them as overhead projectiles, mid projectiles, as well as low projectiles. When those hit an opponent, they will actually cast a curse on that opponent. Now, when you're not an Instinct, that curse will begin to drain Shadow Meter, which is the bar on the bottom right and the bottom left corner, the two blue bars. And then that will basically leech that Shadow Meter from my opponent's meter and give it to mine. So, very friggin' cool. You can actually stack those as well, depending on how many skulls you have available. On top of that, if you engage Spinal's Instinct mode, he will not only regenerate skulls, but those skulls can then be used to help leech Instinct meter from your opponent into your meter. How damn cool is that? He is an insanely technical character. He has just so many layers to him. I'm very interested to actually be able to learn how they all work. Right now at low level, I really didn't know what the hell I was doing. The thing is, I went into the training mode and actually sat down and looked at everything he had to offer and then was trying to utilize it all in a match, which is not a good way to start playing a character. Basically, I should have started developing my combos, okay, just regular soul sword combos, and then go from there and move into the more technical stuff later on. So I actually run into a bunch of other, you'll see it, we have 2 more matches here against other Spinals as well, which yeah, they were doing that. They were building basic combos, which is great, but that's not how Spinal is going to be played in the future by high-level players, and definitely not how I'm going to play him, He has all of these different abilities. You need to make use of them if you want to, gain the full potential of the character and actually have him be an effective fighter online. Now, one of the things I wanted to discuss was how much Spinal sort of steals from every other person's moves, which I think was, I don't know if it was intentional, but I find it very interesting because the classic Spinal character was actually able to morph into other characters. But if we look at his shield bash that you'll be seeing throughout this, that's very similar to Glacius' shoulder rush. He also has a slide kick, very similar to what Orchid can do, and his Soul Sword is very similar to Jago's Laser Sword. So I like how he's sort of this combination of everything that we see in a lot of the other characters, and then, you know, with his own sort of magical Bone Man touch thrown into all of that. I'm very interested to see Spinal in the future. I'm also very interested to see if anyone shows up at the Run Back next week. Now, for those of you guys who are very interested in watching competitive Killer Instinct gameplay, you need to check out Level Up. It's a Twitch account. They do everything, but Thursday nights is the Run Back featuring Killer Instinct, and you'll see some of the best KI players there, whether it be, you know, the infamous Maximilian dude, Alex Valle, one of the really, really good Street Fighter 4 players in the United States, and a lot of other really good players who have been playing Street Fighter 4, Marvel vs. Capcom their entire lives, and have, you know, not made the jump, but have started to play Killer Instinct and supporting it over at the Super Arcade in Walnut, California. So I'll have a link to that Twitch stream in the description below. Definitely check it out, guys. Be sure to check out that trailer, because I really am expecting next week some people to show up with Spinal at the Run Back, and I think it's going to be awesome to see people who have, you know, these guys who are really, really good at Killer Instinct, who have already had, you know, even just a week's time to mess around with somebody like Spinal. Who knows, a lot of people might just want to keep playing their same character, and that's kind of the question of this video. I wanted to ask how many of you guys who actually play Killer Instinct plan on switching to Spinal as your main, or at least messing around with him for a week or so, getting a feel for him and seeing what he is all about. The one thing that I can tell you that is very difficult is when you have two Spinals on screen, both engaging Instinct, it becomes quite difficult to figure out which Spinal is actually yours, as you will see in the next fight. Yeah. Just too much Spinal on screen at once. I also want to ask those of you who don't play Killer Instinct but enjoy watching it, what do you think of Spinal as a character? You know, what do you think of him as, from the character design, and from what you have learned while watching people play Killer Instinct? How do you think he's going to get on as a character with all of these different technical abilities, the skulls? You know, I think he's very damage potential heavy, which just about every character inside of Killer Instinct is. You know, if you ask anyone who's really good at KI, they'll tell you that just about every single character in the game is broken in some way. They all have, you know, their sort of special set of skills that, when utilized right, can deal a massive quantity of damage. So, very interested to see how Spinal fits into the roster, and of course, very interested for Falgor. If you guys haven't seen the teaser for Falgor, it is at the end of the Spinal trailer. Definitely check that out, guys. It's going to get you very stoked for March, and it's going to get you very stoked to play KI in general. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. The last thing I want to ask everyone was that there was, in fact, a small bug that I discovered. My single-player rank was actually downranked by 4 levels when I patched the game. So if you own Killer Instinct, you play Killer Instinct, you own an Xbox One, do me a favor, and after you patch, let me know what your single-player rank is at. Did you get D-ranked? It's a small bug, but, you know, I'd like to know if a lot of people are experiencing that, because that, of course, could lead to other issues in the patch somewhere else. So let me know your thoughts on everything in the comment section below. Be sure to check out Level Up over on Twitch for the Run Back on Thursdays featuring Killer Instinct, as well as the Spinal trailer if you haven't seen it already. It's been Tony Mo, and I'll see you in the next one.